The gunshot stopped him. Alexei Volkov pressed his hand against the bullet wound in his chest and saw her. A black woman bleeding out in the snow, 12 minutes from death. He had a choice. Save himself or save her. He chose her. Bliad. Alexei muttered in Russian, crouching beside the dying woman. His hand was soaked with his own blood. The bullet in his chest was a slow kill. Missed his heart by 2 inches, but punctured something important enough that he could feel his pulse weakening with every beat. His second in command was dead in the alley 3 blocks back. The ambush had been clean. Professional. 3 men with Chechen accents and Serbian weapons. He'd killed all of them. But the cost was this. He was dying in a Moscow alley at 2 a.m. in February, and he had maybe 20 minutes before blood loss finished what the bullet started. The smart move was to call his men, get to his private medical facility, let Katya patch him up like she'd done a dozen times before. But this woman was dying faster than him. "You're dying," she whispered. Her skin was dark brown beneath the snow and blood. American, he'd guess from her features. Her lips were blue, her eyes unfocused. "Da," he said. "So are you." She tried to laugh. It came out as a cough that sprayed blood across white snow. Alexei looked at her wound, knife slash across her ribs. Deep. Clean. Someone had cut her and let her run just far enough to think she might escape before the cold finished her. Cruel. He understood cruelty. Had weaponized it himself more times than he could count. But this felt different. Personal. The kind of violence that came from ownership. From a man who thought this woman was his property. "Who cut you?" he asked. "My boyfriend." Her voice was fading. "Ex-boyfriend," Alexei corrected. She almost smiled. Optimistic. Realistic. He pulled out his phone with a blood-slicked hand, pressed 1 button. His head of security answered on the first ring. "Pakhan. I'm hit. Chest wound. I'm in the alley behind Tverskaya, north side." He looked down at the woman. "I'm not alone. Bring the medical van. 2 minutes." "Sir, your condition?" 2 minutes, Mikhail, not 3. He hung up. The woman's eyes had closed. "Hey." He gripped her shoulder, shook her. "Look at me." Her eyes opened. Barely. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amara." "Amara what?" "Washington." American. He'd been right. "Amara Washington, you're going to stay awake for 2 more minutes. Can you do that?" "Cold. I know. But if you sleep now, you don't wake up." His voice was hard, commanding, the tone that made grown men confess their sins. "Look at me. Focus on my voice. 2 minutes." "Why?" She was fading. "Why do you care?" Good question. He didn't know the answer. 5 years ago, he would have called his men and left her here. Would have made the smart choice. Save himself. Let the American die. Move on. But 5 years ago, he'd still believed people could be saved. Then, Natasha happened. Then he learned that trust was weakness, and love was a weapon, and the only person you could count on was yourself. He'd built an empire on that lesson, so why was he pressing his hand against this stranger's wound instead of his own? Why was he using the last of his strength to keep her conscious? "Because," he said finally, "I'm the only reason you're not dead right now, and I don't waste effort." Her eyes held his. Even dying, even broken, there was something in them. Defiance. Strength. She wasn't begging. Wasn't crying. She was just fighting. Like him. Headlights cut through the alley. Black Mercedes van. Bulletproof glass. Medical equipment visible through the rear windows. Mikhail jumped out, followed by 2 more guards. "Pakhan, you're..." "Her first," Alexei interrupted. "Stabilize her, then me." Mikhail's eyes widened. "Sir, your wound is survivable for another 3 minutes. Hers isn't. Move." They moved. One of the guards scooped Amara up. She gasped as pain exploded through her. Alexei grabbed the guard's arm. "Carefully," he said, his voice dropping to something lethal. "Or I'll put a bullet in you myself." The guard's hands gentled immediately. They loaded her into the van. Alexei climbed in after her, his vision starting to blur at the edges. Blood loss. Shock. His body was shutting down in stages. But he stayed conscious through sheer will. The van's doors slammed shut. The driver hit the gas. Mikhail cut away Amara's jacket, her shirt, started packing her wound with gauze while another guard established an IV line. "She's losing blood too fast," Mikhail said. "I can stabilize, but she needs surgery. Real surgery. Then drive faster." Alexei's hand was still pressed against his own chest. Blood seeped between his fingers. "How far to the facility?" 4 minutes. "Make it 3. Mikhail glanced at him. "Sir, you need—" "I know what I need." Alexei's vision tunneled. Darkness crept in from the edges. "Just keep her alive." The van swerved through Moscow's empty streets. Amara's breathing was shallow. Wrong. Her lips were going from blue to gray. "Stay with me," Alexei ordered. Her eyes flickered open, unfocused, dying. "What's your name?" she whispered. He shouldn't tell her. Shouldn't give his real name to a stranger who might be an agent, a plant, a trap. But something in her eyes, that defiance, that strength, made him answer. "Alexei Volkov." Recognition flickered across her face. Even dying, even American, she'd heard the name. Everyone in Moscow had heard the name. The Volkov Bratva, the Winter Wolf, the man who ruled the city's underworld with calculated violence and absolute control. Fear should have followed that recognition, but she just looked at him and whispered, "Of course, a Mafia Lord." Then her eyes closed. "No." He grabbed her hand, squeezed. "Amara, stay awake." "Nothing." "Amara." Mikhail checked her pulse. "She's still alive. Barely." The van screeched to a stop. They were at his estate, his private medical facility. Safety. The doors opened. Guards pulled Amara out first. This time, they were careful. Rushed her through the underground entrance to the medical wing. Alexei tried to stand. The world tilted. Mikhail caught him before he hit the ground. "Pakhan." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're going into shock." "Then fix it." His vision was graying out completely now. "But her first. Save her first." "Sir." "That's an order, Mikhail." The last thing he saw before unconsciousness took him was Amara being rushed into the surgical suite, Katya already scrubbing in, and the thought that he'd made a choice tonight that would change everything. He'd chosen to save her instead of himself. And he still didn't know why. Amara woke to silk sheets and the smell of expensive cologne. Neither belonged to her. Her eyes opened slowly, adjusting to soft lamplight. The room was massive, high ceilings, dark wood furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows showing Moscow's skyline glittering in the distance. This wasn't a hospital, this was a bedroom. And judging by the masculine decor, it was his bedroom. She sat up too fast. Pain lanced through her side. She gasped, pressing her hand against the bandages wrapped around her torso. "Careful." She jerked her head toward the voice. Alexei Volkov sat in an armchair beside the bed, watching her. He'd changed clothes, black shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows. No blood. But she could see the edge of bandages beneath the fabric at his chest. He was alive. So was she. "How long?" she asked. 14 hours. "Where am I?" "My home." Her heart hammered. The last thing she remembered was the van, the medical equipment, his hand gripping hers as darkness took her. And before that, the alley, the snow, the cold that had been killing her until he appeared like death itself and chose to save her instead of himself. I need to leave, she said. No. He said it so simply, like it was already decided. You don't. She threw the covers back, swung her legs over the side of the bed, stood up. The room tilted. He was there before she fell, catching her, easing her back down onto the mattress. I said careful, he murmured. Don't touch me. The words came out weaker than she wanted. He released her immediately, stepped back. But his eyes never left hers. You lost a lot of blood, he said. Katya, my doctor, said you need at least 3 days of rest before you can walk properly. I don't have 3 days. Why? Because Anton will find me. Something dark crossed Alexei's face. Dangerous. Anton Petrov? She nodded, surprised he knew the name. The man who cut you? His voice was too quiet, too controlled. Yes. Alexei's jaw tightened. She watched muscles flex beneath his skin, watched his hands curl into fists, watched violence simmer just beneath the surface. He won't, Alexei said finally. You don't know him. I know exactly who he is. His voice dropped, cold and final. Small-time enforcer for the Kozlov family. Thinks he's dangerous because he deals drugs and beats women. He leaned forward slightly. He's not dangerous. He's a dead man who doesn't know it yet. The certainty in his tone made her shiver. I'm not your problem, she said quietly. Yes, he replied. You are. She stared at him. Why did you save me? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood, moved to the window, his back to her. I don't know, he said. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. He turned back to face her. I was bleeding out in that alley. My second in command was dead. I'd just killed 3 men who ambushed us after a meeting went wrong. I should have gotten in the car and left. But you didn't. No. His eyes held hers. I saw you dying in the snow, and I couldn't. The vulnerability in those words hit her harder than she expected. You don't even know me, she whispered. I know enough. He moved closer. I know you ran from a man who was killing you slowly. I know you'd rather die in the snow than go back to him. I know you're stronger than you think you are. You don't know anything about me. Then tell me. She didn't want to give him anything, but something about the way he looked at her, not with pity, but with understanding, made the words come anyway. I met Anton in London 8 months ago, she said. I was working as a nurse. He was charming, attentive, said he worked in import-export. She laughed bitterly. I was stupid enough to believe him? Alexei said nothing, just listened. He convinced me to come to Moscow with him, said he'd take care of me, that we'd build a life together. Her voice cracked. Instead, he locked me in his apartment, took my passport, told me I belonged to him now. For 8 months. Yes. She looked down at her hands. He'd hit me if I argued. Burn me with cigarettes if I tried to leave. Last night, I found his spare keys. Thought I could make it to the American embassy. You got 6 blocks. I got 6 blocks, she repeated softly. Then the cold started winning. Then he caught up to me. Then he cut me and told me to run. Said he'd give me a head start before he came after me again. She looked up at Alexei. He was playing with me, like I was prey, and I ran because that's all I had left. Silence filled the room. Then Alexei spoke, his voice low and deadly. He'll never touch you again. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. You can't promise that, she said. Yes, he said. I can. He crossed the room, sat on the edge of the bed, close enough that she could see the gray flecks in his eyes. You have 2 options, he said. 1. I give you money, a new passport, and a plane ticket to anywhere you want to go. You leave Russia and never look back. Her breath caught. And the second? You stay. Stay? She almost laughed. Here? With you? Yes. Why would I do that? Because Anton won't stop looking for you. Because the American embassy won't protect you. He has connections there. Because if you run, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, waiting for him to find you. He leaned closer. Or, he continued quietly, you stay with me. You work for me. You earn your place here. And I guarantee your safety. No one touches you. No one threatens you. You're under my protection. Your protection? She shook her head. I've heard that before. I'm not him. You're a mafia boss. Yes. You kill people. Yes. And you want me to… what? Trust you? His eyes held hers. I want you to survive. However you need to. She should say no. Should take the money and run. But something in his words rang true. Anton wouldn't stop. He'd find her. And next time, there'd be no one to save her. What kind of work? She asked carefully. You're a nurse. Was. Are. He corrected. My men get hurt. Often. I need someone I can trust to patch them up without asking questions. You have Katya. Katya's 70. She needs help. He paused. And I need someone who understands what it means to survive. Amara's mind raced. This was insane. Working for a crime lord, living in his home, binding herself to a man she didn't know. But what choice did she have? If I stay, she said slowly, I'm not your property. Agreed. I work. I earn my place. I'm not yours. Something flickered in his expression. Dark. Possessive. We'll see, he said quietly. Before she could respond, he stood, pulled something from his pocket. Her passport. I had my men retrieve this from Anton's apartment, he said, placing it on the bed beside her. Along with your belongings. You're free to leave whenever you want. She stared at the passport. He'd given her freedom, and somehow, that made staying feel like a choice. 3 days, she said finally. I'll decide in 3 days. Alexei's mouth curved into something that might have been a smile. 3 days, he agreed. He walked to the door, paused. Welcome to the Volkov Bratva, Amara Washington. The door closed behind him, and she realized she'd just made a deal with the devil. 3 days later, Amara didn't leave. She told herself it was because she needed to heal, because running on a half-sutured wound was suicide, because she needed a plan before she made her next move. But the truth was simpler, scarier. She didn't want to leave. The Volkov estate was a fortress disguised as a mansion, 20-acre grounds, armed guards at every entrance, security systems that could track a mouse crossing the lawn, and Alexei was everywhere, not hovering, not controlling, just present. He'd check on her wound every morning, bring her meals himself when she refused to leave the bedroom, sit in the armchair reading reports while she slept, like he was afraid she'd disappear if he looked away. On the 3rd day, she found him in his study. I'm staying, she said from the doorway. He looked up from his desk. I know. You know? You stopped asking where the exits were. His eyes held hers. That's how I knew. She stepped inside, closed the door behind her. What happens now? Now, he said, standing. You start training. Katya's waiting for you in the medical wing. The medical facility was in the mansion's basement, fully equipped, surgical suite, recovery rooms, enough supplies to run a small hospital. Katya stood in the center of it all, arms crossed, evaluating Amara with sharp gray eyes. So, the old woman said in heavily accented English, you're the one Pakhan saved. I'm Amara. I know who you are. Katya circled her slowly. Question is, do you know what you are? I'm a nurse. Were you a good nurse? Yes. Prove it. Katya gestured to the surgical suite. Man comes in. Gunshot wound to the abdomen. Entrance wound, no exit. Bullet still inside. Blood pressure dropping. What do you do? Amara's mind shifted automatically into clinical mode. Establish 2 large-bore IVs. Start fluid resuscitation. Type and cross-match for transfusion. Broad-spectrum antibiotics. Prep for exploratory laparotomy to locate and remove the bullet. Repair any organ damage. Katya's expression didn't change. He's conscious, screaming, combative. Won't let you touch him. Restrain him if necessary. Explain the procedure. If he still refuses, sedate him. His consent matters less than his survival. He's Bratva. He doesn't trust you. Says you're American. Says you'll kill him. Then I tell him the truth. I can save him or he can bleed out on my table, his choice. But if he chooses to live, he shuts up and lets me work. Katya smiled. Actually smiled. Good. You have spine. You'll need it. Over the next 2 weeks, Katya taught her everything they didn't teach in nursing school. How to remove a bullet without anesthesia. How to hide evidence of torture. How to patch a knife wound so it wouldn't scar. How to save men who didn't deserve saving. And Amara learned something else. She was good at this. Better than good. The clinical detachment she'd developed working in London's trauma wards translated perfectly here. She didn't flinch when they brought in men with gunshot wounds, didn't hesitate when Katya handed her a scalpel and told her to cut. She just worked. On her 8th day, they brought in a young man with a bullet in his shoulder. He was conscious, terrified, barely 20 years old. Please, he begged in Russian. Please don't let me die. Amara looked at Katya. Can I? He's yours. She worked for 40 minutes, removed the bullet, sutured the wound, bandaged him properly. When she was done, the young man was stable, sleeping, alive. Alexei appeared in the doorway. She hadn't heard him come in. You saved him, he said quietly. That's my job. No. He stepped closer. Your job is to patch wounds. You performed surgery. Alone. She met his eyes. I did what needed to be done. Something shifted in his expression. Respect, pride, and something darker. More. Possessive. You're not afraid anymore, he observed. No, she agreed. I'm not. The shift. 5:38:30. That night, she couldn't sleep. She found herself walking the halls at 2 a.m., exploring the mansion in darkness. She found him in the library. Alexei sat in a leather chair by the fireplace, a glass of vodka in his hand, staring into the flames. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. How did you know I was there? I always know where you are. He glanced at her. Sit. She sat. The fire crackled between them. Why does your brother hate me? She asked quietly. Alexei was quiet for a long moment. Victor doesn't hate you. He hates what you represent. Which is? Vulnerability. He took a drink. 5 years ago, I fell in love with a woman, Natasha. She was brilliant. Beautiful. Everything I thought I wanted. Amara's chest tightened. What happened? She was an agent, FSB, sent to infiltrate my organization. His voice was flat, emotionless. She spent 2 years in my bed, learning my secrets. When she had enough, she tried to kill me. Victor shot her before she could. The pieces clicked into place. He thinks I'm another Natasha, Amara said. Yes. Are you sure I'm not? He turned to look at her then, his gray eyes reflecting firelight. Natasha was calculating, patient. She knew exactly what she was doing from the moment we met. He paused. You're terrified, broken, running from demons you can't escape. You're not here because you want something from me. You're here because you have nowhere else to go. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement. It's honest. He leaned forward. I don't need perfect, Amara. I need real. And you. His eyes held hers. You're the most real thing I've seen in 5 years. Her breath caught. I should go, she whispered. You should. But he didn't move. Neither did she. The fire burned lower. The silence stretched. Anton's dead, Alexei said finally. The world stopped. What? 3 days ago. My men found him. He's gone. She should feel relief, freedom, joy. Instead, she felt nothing. And then, slowly, something else. Something that felt dangerously like safety. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Because I wanted you to stay for the right reasons. He stood, moved closer. Not because you were running from him, but because you chose this. Chose us. Chose you, she corrected quietly. Yes. His voice dropped. Chose me. The air between them was electric. Dangerous. He reached out, cupped her face. I'm not a good man, Amara, he said. I'm selfish, possessive, violent. I've killed men for less than looking at what's mine. I'm not yours. Not yet. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. But you will be. She should pull away, should remember who he was, what he did. But she didn't. 1 month, she whispered. Give me 1 month to figure out what this is. You can have forever. 1 month, she insisted. Deal. He kissed her. Soft. Gentle. Nothing like the violence she knew he was capable of. When he pulled back, they were both shaking. Sleep, he said. Tomorrow you meet the rest of the Bratva. He left her standing in the library, her heart racing, her world rewriting itself. She'd come to Moscow running from a monster, and she'd found another one. But this monster had saved her, protected her, given her purpose, and she was falling in love with him. God help her. She was falling in love with Alexei Volkov. The Bratva's inner circle met in a room Amara had never seen before, underground. Concrete walls, no windows, a single long table surrounded by men who looked like they'd been carved from violence itself. 12 of them, all watching her like she was prey. Alexei sat at the head of the table, Victor to his right, scowling, an empty chair to his left. For her. Sit, Alexei said. She sat. Every eye in the room tracked her movement. This is Amara Washington, Alexei announced. She's our new medic. She answers to me. She has full access to the medical facility and any resources she needs. She's an outsider, one of the men said. Heavy accent, scarred face. We don't know her. I know her, Alexei replied. That's enough. Is it? Victor leaned forward. 3 weeks ago, she didn't exist to us. Now she's in our home, treating our men. What happens when she decides to leave? When she takes everything she's learned to the authorities? She won't. You can't guarantee that. Yes, Alexei said quietly, his eyes never leaving Amara's. I can. The possession in his voice made her shiver. I have a question, Amara said. The room went silent. Speak, Alexei said. What happens if I want to leave? Victor's smile was vicious. See, brother, I told you. Then you leave, Alexei interrupted, his gaze still locked on hers. I give you money, new identity, safe passage to wherever you want to go. Just like that? Just like that? And if someone from your organization tries to stop me? His expression went cold, lethal. Then they answer to me. She believed him. But you won't leave, he continued softly. Will you? Every man in the room leaned forward, waiting. No, she said. I won't. Why not? Victor demanded. She turned to face him, met his hostile glare with steady eyes. Because for 8 months I was property, she said. Someone's possession, something to be used and discarded. Her voice was steady, strong. Here, I'm a person. I have value. I have purpose. Your brother gave me that. He gave you chains, Victor spat. No. She looked back at Alexei. He gave me a choice. Something in Victor's expression shifted. Not acceptance, not yet, but consideration. Alexei stood. The matter is settled. She stays. Anyone who has a problem with that can speak now. Silence. Good. He looked at Amara. Welcome to the family. ACT 4. The threat. 3. Xatro 6:30. The meeting ended. The men filed out. Victor lingered, his eyes on Amara. You're good, he said in Russian. Very good. You almost had me convinced. I'm not playing a game, she replied in perfect Russian. Katya had been teaching her. His eyebrows rose. You speak Russian now? I learn fast. So did Natasha. He stepped closer. My brother sees what he wants to see. He sees a broken woman he saved. I see an operator. Someone too perfect, too convenient. Then you're paranoid. In our world, paranoia keeps you alive. He leaned in. I'm watching you, Amara Washington. And the moment you slip, the moment you prove you're what I think you are, I'll kill you myself. Victor. Alexei's voice cut through the tension. He stood in the doorway, his expression dangerous. Leave. Now. Victor held Amara's gaze for one more moment. Then he left. Alexei crossed to her. Are you all right? I'm fine. He's wrong about you. Is he? She looked up at him. How do you know? Really know? You saved me 3 weeks ago. You don't know who I was before that. What I'm capable of. Then tell me. What if I'm exactly what Victor thinks I am? Are you? She held his gaze. No. Then that's all I need to know. His faith in her was terrifying, beautiful, dangerous. Your phone's buzzing, she said. He pulled it out, looked at the screen. His expression changed instantly, cold, alert. What? She asked. He looked at her. Anton Petrov had a brother. Her blood went cold. Victor Petrov. And he just breached the perimeter. Alarms screamed through the mansion. Gunshots erupted in the distance. Alexei grabbed her hand. Stay with me. Don't leave my side. Do you understand? Yes. They ran through corridors. His men were mobilizing, weapons, tactical positions. They made it to the secure room in the basement, reinforced walls, multiple exits, defensible. Mikhail was already there with 6 other guards. Report, Alexei ordered. 15 men, maybe 20, professional. They knew exactly where to hit our security gaps. Victor Petrov? Leading them personally. Alexei's jaw clenched. He's here for her. Everyone looked at Amara. Then give me to him, she said. End this before anyone else dies. No. Alexei, no. He gripped her shoulders. You're under my protection. That means something. It means I'd burn this entire city down before I let him touch you. The stand, 6:30 Tenterakwadis. The door exploded inward, not the main entrance, the secondary exit, the one that should have been secure. Victor Petrov walked through the smoke, followed by 10 men in tactical gear. He was tall, lean, had Anton's eyes but none of his weakness. This was a killer, a real one. Alexei Volkov, Victor said in accented English. The Winter Wolf. I've heard so much about you. Victor Petrov, Anton's brother. Alexei's voice was ice. You're making a mistake. Am I? Victor's eyes found Amara. That's the woman who killed my brother. I didn't... Amara started. You ran. He chased. He died hunting you. Victor's smile was cruel. In my world, that makes you responsible. Anton died because my men found him. Torturing another woman, Alexei said. He was a disease. I removed him. He was my brother. And she's under my protection. Then you'll die protecting her. Victor raised his gun, pointed it at Amara. Alexei stepped in front of her. You'll have to go through me. That can be arranged. The room erupted. Gunfire, chaos, blood. Alexei's men were outnumbered but better trained. They fought with precision, brutality. Victor's men fell, one by one. But Victor was moving toward Amara. Always toward Amara. Alexei intercepted him. They collided. Two predators. Fists. Elbows. Knees. Victor was fast, but Alexei was faster. A knee to the ribs. An elbow to the jaw. Victor stumbled. Alexei pulled his gun, put it against Victor's head. "Your brother was a monster," Alexei said quietly. "But you still have a choice. Leave. Now. Never come back. Or die here." Victor spat blood. "You think I'm afraid of death?" "No. But I think you're smarter than your brother, and smart men know when they've lost." For a long moment Victor stared at him, then at Amara. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes," Alexei replied. "It is." He pulled the trigger. Viktor Petrov crumpled to the floor. The silence that followed was deafening. Alexei turned to Amara. Blood on his shirt, cuts on his face, eyes wild. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head. Couldn't speak. He crossed to her, pulled her into his arms. She felt his heart hammering against her chest. "You're safe," he whispered. "I've got you. You're safe." She wrapped her arms around him, held on. Around them, his men were securing the scene, checking bodies, cleaning up the violence. This was his world. Blood and bullets and death. And she'd just chosen to stay in it. "I love you," she whispered against his chest. He went still. Then he pulled back, looked at her, searched her face. "Say that again." "I love you, Alexei Volkov. I don't know how it happened. I don't know when. But I do." He kissed her. Fierce. Desperate. A man who'd been drowning and just found air. When he pulled back, his eyes were bright. "You're mine," he said. "Not because I saved you. Not because you owe me. But because you chose me." "Yes. Say it. I'm yours. And I'm yours." He pressed his forehead to hers. "For as long as you'll have me." "Forever then. Forever." Epilogue. 10 Wahad, 12 Anisar. 3 months later. Amara stood in the medical wing, stitching up one of Alexei's men who'd been stupid enough to get into a knife fight. "Hold still," she ordered in Russian. The man, Dmitri, barely 22, winced but obeyed. She worked efficiently, no wasted movement. She'd done this so many times now it was automatic. When she was done, she bandaged the wound. "Keep it clean. Change the dressing twice a day. If it gets infected, come back immediately." "Yes, ma'am." He left. Alexei appeared in the doorway. "How is he?" "Alive. Stupid, but alive." He smiled, crossed to her, pulled her close. "Marry me," he said. She blinked. "What?" "Marry me. Make it official. Make it permanent." "We've only known each other 3 months. I knew after 3 weeks. I've been waiting for you to catch up." She laughed. Actually laughed. "That's not a proposal, that's a demand." "It's both." He pulled a ring from his pocket. Platinum. Diamond. Simple. Perfect. "Marry me, Amara Washington. Let me spend the rest of my life protecting you, loving you, being yours." She looked at the ring, at him, at the life they'd built from blood and snow and impossible choices. "Yes," she said. He slid the ring onto her finger, kissed her until she forgot how to breathe. When they pulled apart, she was smiling. "I came to Moscow running from a monster," she said. "And you found another one." "No." She touched his face. "I found a man who saved me when he should have saved himself, who gave me freedom when he could have taken it, who loves me not despite my broken pieces but because of them." "I'm still a monster. Then I'll love the monster." He kissed her again. And in that moment, Amara Washington realized something. She'd come to Moscow to escape her past. Instead, she'd found her future, in the arms of the Winter Wolf, in a life built on blood and loyalty and love. And she wouldn't change a single thing. If this story grabbed you and didn't let go, you know what to do. Subscribe. because we're just getting started with these dark, twisted, beautiful love stories. Drop a comment. Could you forgive someone who saved you but lived in violence? Could you love a monster? We'll see you in the next story. Until then, stay dangerous.